Okay, so let's start from the definition of RPC framework. What is it? So RPC, it's remote procedure call, and it's a way for programs to communicate, allowing you to call a method on another server as if it were a local method. And you don't need to care about the network details. The RPC framework handles packaging the call, sending the request, and decoding the response. So what is meant by it? I'll use a better diagram that I've drawn to explain. So we can see in this diagram, it demonstrates the full message flow in a custom Java RPC framework. And this diagram, it's illustrating the structure of our framework. That's what we are going to do. All right. So that's the ultimate form of our RPC framework. All right. So the user client and the booking client and also the payment client, they are microservices. All right. And so let's imagine that the user, which is called consumer, initiates a remote method call to the booking, to the booking service, using Netty for network transport and custom encoders and decoders for message serialization. So which means, let's go through the entire step by step, okay? So first, the user client, all right, triggers a remote call. Now, why does it trigger a remote call? Because if we can see that, let's go through the component first. The client user, which is called RPC consumer, right? The client booking, which is the RPC producer, and this producer implements and serves remote methods. So there's a remote method called get booking by user ID, and which is exposed for the RPC reason. So other service can call this method because it's marked as an RPC method. All right. So the server, what it's going to do is that this is called central message router, and holds active Netty channels for all clients. So when your clients is it's running, all right, when you start your Spring Boot server, your Spring Boot program application, and there is a Netty clients that register with the server, forming a channel. So they have they generate a Netty channel that can communicate with the server. So every client, when just soon after it gets started, a Netty client instance will be running up and connect itself to the server. And the server maintains all the channel information. So you can see a map there, all right? And so we can have two other components as well, which is called a message encoder and message decoder. So the message encoder converts the Java object to byte array before sending out. So you can see the Java object to byte array. And the decoder, it's the other way back, converts the array back to the Java object, right? So the reason that we need to have this serialization and deserialization is because in the Netty network, they use the byte array stream, the byte stream, okay, as a transport medium. So they transport what they transport is the byte array itself. Okay, so whatever the object you want to transfer using the Netty network, the first step is you need to think about how it's converted to the byte array. Okay, so now you can see the RPC request. This RPC request is a Java object, so it's first converted into the byte array by the message encoder and transport within a channel. This is called channel. So right before it arrived at the server, there's a decoder would decode this Java object back into the Java object, because this now is in the byte array, right? So the byte array is going to be converted back into the Java object and get into the server and being processed. So this is the RPC request. So actually it contains the metadata about the method call. So what kind of method you want to call, which class you're looking for, and what kind of params you are passing into, so and so on. Okay, so you need, when you call a method, you need the parameters, right? So it's also carried in the RPC request. And also we have a response. So you see that when the server gets it, okay, so the RPC request is going to be forward to the booking service, because this RPC carries a producer ID. So which method and which service they want to go, and it's all contained, this information is all contained in the request, and the server can analyze the information and forward this request right to the correct service. And when the booking gets this request and process it, find the method and forms a response, and the response is, you know, encoded, decoded, right, back to the consumer, and then that's it. So that's the procedure, and we can go again step by step. So what we can do is basically first, the user client triggers a remote call, right? Okay, so the framework captures this call through a dynamic proxy, but don't worry about proxy. We can just go into next step. And inside, they are going to send out a RPC request. And this RPC request is constructed with contains many information in it, okay? And the request is passed to the message decoder and serialized into a byte array, and then decoded and encoded into the byte array sent via Netty to the central server. And inside the central server, when the server receives what it's doing is the server reads the incoming byte stream from the user client, and the message decoder to convert the byte array back into the Java object, which is the RPC request itself. And then what next is that the server looks up the destination channel from this map. It maintains a map. So this map, the key, it's the client ID, the value is the channel. So this RPC request carries the destination client ID. So the server can use the ID to find the channel from this map, and using the target service name, all right? And the decoded request is forwarded to the appropriate destination, in this case, the booking client. So here. So once it finds out the channel of the booking service, and it forward the RPC request to the booking. And same, this RPC request, it needs to be encoded soon after it's been sent out of the server, and decoded again on arrival the booking service. All right. So the next step is that when the booking client here receives the request, then it converts it back to the RPC request, right? Then because the RPC request carries the method name, it carries the method name so that the booking, it can get the method name out of the RPC request, okay? And then it invokes the method and capture the result. So the name is here. Like say this is the name carried in the RPC request, and then the booking service get the name out, the method name and the params out of this RPC request, and use reflection to call this method, and the method return a booking, right? And then the booking is then wrapped into this response, RPC response, and then this response is sent back to the server, and in the server is able to find out who triggered, who called the request, who sent the request, and then return this RPC response to the service who sent this request out. And then the client user can get this response. And then the last step is that when the response arrives into the server and into the user will process this response and get the result out of the RPC response. And that's the entire step of the RPC framework and how it works. Okay? And okay, so we can just briefly look at the compare the popular RPC framework in the market